Well, the Tigers got a taste of the Braxton Ashcroft experience in Game 2 of the 3-game set against the Pirates last night, and it definitely left the Tigers with a bad taste in their mouth. Good morning, everybody. Captain Lou here with another edition of Tigers Daily in partnership with the Fan Arts Network. Happy Wednesday, August the 19th, 2026. My goodness, the month is flying by. A couple of reminders for those of you that are checking us out for the first time. I say welcome to the Tigers Daily family. Hit that subscribe button and you can be a part of one of the most passionate fan bases discussion in all of Major League Baseball. That is the Detroit Tiger fan base. And also a reminder, a welcome to our brand new partner, Kalshi, Kalshi. When you download the Kalshi app, use the promo code FanArtsBaseball. And when you trade your first $10, you'll get $10 back. It's baseball season. That means every game trades on Kalshi. The Braxton Ashcroft experience hit the Tigers, as we mentioned. 8 innings, 80 pitches, 4 strikeouts. That was it. He gave up 3 hits overall, and that was it as the Tigers dropped Game 2 of the 3-game set by the score of 4-1. Kiter Montero matched him pitch for pitch through the first 4 innings, but that 5th inning proved to be the death knell. Brett Callahan got the go-ahead home run in the top of the 5th. His first home run as a Detroit Tiger. Looked, again, keeping his hot streak going for the Tigers since being called up for the Sunday game. But that was it. That's all they could muster off of Ashcroft. Montero gave up 3 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning. He didn't look the same in the bottom of the 5th. And that knuckleballer he gave up to O'Neal Cruz, oh my goodness. You could tell the minute it left the bat, it was going to be trouble. A 422-foot moonshot. That gave the Pirates a 2-1 lead. That's all they would need. They got another run in the bottom of the 5th to make it 3-1. Then they got one in the 8th. But the damage was already done. The Tigers lose Game 2. Now they've got to win today in the series finale to take another road series. That would be their 8th straight. This is really, to me, it's getting to be must-win time. So this is a big game for the Tigers. They'll go up against Paul Skeens. We'll talk about that in a moment. But again, back to Kiter Montero and his inconsistency. That's been the theme of the Tigers in 2026. The inconsistency of the bullpen, the inconsistency of the bats. Kiter Montero has a good start and then a so-so start, a really good start, a bad start. You're getting the theme right. He falls to 9-8 with the loss. 5 innings, 3 earned runs. Not his worst outing, but not one of his better ones, obviously. The previous one, he was very, very magnificent. Just ho-hum at best in this one through 5 innings. So again, the Tigers lose Game 2. Now they'll go for the series win today against the Pirates. One interesting stat. We've talked ad nauseum about how many leads Detroit has lost, how many leads they've blown and lost in the 7th inning on, all the blown saves. The theme again for the Tigers this year. How about this one? When they've scored first, they've lost 27 times. That's 4th worst in Major League Baseball. It's hard to believe that there's 3 other teams that have done more than that. That seems like a stat that Detroit would be leading. But they got the lead again first last night. The go-ahead, they scored first with that 1-0 lead on the Callahan home run. But again, as you know, they blew it. The 27th time they've done that this year in 2026. So again, this afternoon, it's going to be Jackson Jobe against Paul Skeens. Jobe, his 3rd start since coming back from Tommy John surgery, looked lights out in his opener. And, of course, in the last matchup for him, he got lit up for 6 runs. We'll see how long he goes today for the Tigers and A.J. Hinch. What is his pitch count going to be? I'm guessing it's probably going to be about 75 unless he has a rough outing. Paul Skeens, this is kind of an interesting story with him. We all know his story going into this year. 2 absolutely lights-out years, but his velocity is down this year. They rested him. He was supposed to pitch Sunday. Now, when you look back at the schedule, we were looking at it and saying, okay, he's going to pitch Sunday against the Marlins. They're not going to see him in this matchup, in this 3-game set. Well, they rested him. His arm is tired. It's obvious. His velocity is down. He's 9-11 this year. His ERA is a very pedestrian 3.98. He still has 166 strikeouts, and his whip is 1.12. But again, his velocity is down about a couple of miles an hour. There's concern in Pirate land. But he's going to get the start. They had him miss a start, pushed him back to today. So this is the series finale for the Tigers and the Bucks. We'll see what Tigers team shows up. Paul Skeens has proved that he's hittable this year. We'll see if the Tigers can figure him out, and we'll see if Jackson Jobe can rebound after that rough second start for the Tigers. A big game for the Tigers. They're all big now. 61-65. They're still just 4.5 games out of first place in the American League Central. I get it. They're still in it mathematically. They're still just one game out of a wild card. That jumbled up mess, we'll talk about it in a little while in our standings portion of the show. But a big game. We talked about it earlier in the week. Detroit, at worst, can go no worse than 4-2 on this road trip. This would be a big win for them to win their 8th straight road series. So, again, it's going to be Jobe against Paul Skeens this afternoon, a matinee finish of the series for the Tigers and the Pirates. All right, before we go any further, again, a reminder, let's welcome our brand new partner to the Tigers Daily Network, and that is Kalshi, Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app, use the promo code FANARCHBASEBALL, and you'll get $10. When you trade your first $10, you'll get $10 back. Now, how it works is the Tigers are definitely underdogs today against the Pirates. If you want to trade on that game, they're trading at 40%, which means they're that underdog. If you trade $10 and you stick with it until the end of the game and they win, you'll get $23.40 or $24.30 back. So it's that simple. And the beauty of this is you're not going against the house. You're trading against your peers. So if you make the trade and you get better return on investment a little bit later on, you can trade out of it and get your return. It's that simple. Kalshi, that's Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app and use the promo code FANARCHBASEBALL, and you'll get $10 back on your first $10 trade. All right, getting back to the Tigers now. Again, here's my question to you today. What is the pulse? What is your excitement level with all this inconsistent play? The Tigers get your hopes up, then they get swept by the White Sox. Then they play good against Pittsburgh in Game 1. Then they get beat. They get stymied yesterday in Game 2. What does this do to your pulse rate with the Tigers? I'm just interested to see. Is the excitement level still there? What do you think the percentage is that they're going to get into the playoffs? Now, I'm sure nobody thinks they're going to win the World Series, right? Maybe the diehards, the ultimate optimists might think that. And you might think I'm crazy asking this question, but I just wanted to see what your pulse rate is with the Tigers on this Wednesday. 61-65. That means they've got 36 games left. They've got to win 24 more games to get to that 85 game threshold, which we all think is probably going to be what it takes to get into the playoffs. Who knows though? 83-79 might. But what is your pulse rate on the Tigers? What do you think what do you think their chances are? How confident are you in the Tigers? Now, I know in the comments, we've seen it a little bit off and on. They've got no chance, especially after the trades. I get that. But realistically, what is your pulse rate? I would love to see what the response would be on that. Yesterday, we talked about the Hall of Fame and the snubs and all that. We'll go over your comments on that here in a few moments. But here's something, we talked about how there will not be a 300-game winner anymore in Major League Baseball. I just don't see it happening. We talked, I think, after Scherzer, who's at 221, we've got Justin Verlander. He's not going to probably pitch anymore. This is it. So he's not going to make it to 300. So there's not going to be another 300-game hitter or a 300-win pitcher. I beg your pardon. 3,000 hits, who knows? We'll talk about that in another broadcast coming up soon. But here's what I wanted to talk about. Max Scherzer pitched the other day for the Toronto Blue Jays, and he went into 10th place in Major League Baseball in the overall career strikeouts. He's now at 35-20. He is 34 behind Justin Verlander. Now, the odds of Verlander pitching again are very, very low. He's still in rehab. It's not looking good for him. He might get one token appearance for the Tigers, but counting on him to have any kind of strikeout input, no, it's not going to happen. So I guess, first of all, my question is, do you think Max Scherzer is going to catch Justin Verlander. He needs 34 strikeouts. I don't know if Scherzer's going to pitch another year. He's 41 years old. Obviously, Verlander's not. But it looks like that Max Scherzer could pass Gaylord Perry. He needs 14 to pass him for ninth place. Justin Verlander is 8th all-time in strikeouts at 35.54. I thought that he would be able to pass at least Don Sutton this year to get to 7th, but obviously he's probably not going to pitch another game. But my question to you is, who else do you think, will we see a 3,000 strikeout pitcher ever again? Now, Chris Sale is the closest. He's pitching for the Braves right now. He's at 27.39. He's 37 years old. He's looking pretty good. I think the chances of him getting to 3,000 strikeouts are pretty good. But after that, this is where, again, you've got to dive down deep. After that, it goes all the way down to Garrett Cole. He might be able to do it. He's at 23.53. And then you've got to go further down to Kevin Guzman. He's 35 years old, 20.92. And then Yu Darvish, he won't make the 3,000. He's at 2,000 strikeouts right now, and he's reaching 40 years old. How is that even possible, by the way? Sonny Gray, he's at 2,000. He's 36 years old. So that's the strikeout chase. We talk about these milestones. I don't think anybody's going to get to 300 wins. And obviously, I don't know if anybody else, maybe Chris Sale will get to 3,000 strikeouts. But again, Max Scherzer just got into the top 10 with 3,500 now and 20 strikeouts. He's 34 behind Justin Verlander for the 8th spot on the all-time strikeout list. All right, let's finish it up. We'll take a look at some of the standings in Major League Baseball as we get a set here for the matinee games. First of all, in the American League East, again, the Tampa Bay Rays, their lead is now down to 5 over the Yankees, 7.5 over the Red Sox, as they've lost 3 out of their last 4. The White Sox, their lead is 4 over the Twins. The Twins won yesterday. So did the Guardians. The Guardians and the Tigers are now 4.5 back in Major League Baseball in the Central Division. And in the West, the Astros, they've lost 3 straight. The Rangers are now just a game back. The Astros are at 500, leading the American League Central. And in the National League, the Braves, they've lost a couple of straight. The Phillies now have crept to within 5.5 games. And in the National League, in the Central Division, the Brewers, they won again. So did the Cubs. That lead is now 4.5 over the Cubs. And the Dodgers, their lead is still 8 over the Padres. But we talk about the wild card. And here's where it gets interesting again. We mentioned the Tigers are just 1 game out of the 3rd and final wild card spot. The Rangers hold it right now, but the Tigers are now behind the Twins and the Blue Jays, who are just a half game out. The Guardians and the Orioles and the Tigers are all 1 game out. And then the Seattle Mariners are just 3 back. And so 7 teams within 3 games of that final wild card spot. So, all right, here's one other interesting thing I wanted to tell you about from last night. Anybody catch that Brewers game? See what the score was against the Seattle Mariners. This is how far the Mariners have fallen. You know, they were so close to going to the World Series. Here's a crazy thing that happened in that game last night. Brewers were up 19-0. Bases loaded. I think it was top of the 9th. And Seattle, I don't even know who the pitcher was for Seattle. He was a utility player, an infielder, whatever. Bases were loaded. He gave up a long fly ball with the bases loaded. The center fielder caught it, thought there was 3 outs. He threw it into the bullpen. So the Brewers ended up getting a couple of more runs. They got the sacrifice fly. The rule was if it hops into the stands or out of play, you get to advance 2 bases. So they ended up getting a couple extra runs. It was pretty funny. You had to see the highlight. The Brewers ended up winning that game over the Mariners by the score of 22-0. All right, again, before we go, a couple of comments and also an update, too, on the Tigers. In the comments, again, we talked about who do you think got snubbed in the Hall of Fame. A lot of people, again, Freehand, we've talked about that before. Freehand should be in the Hall of Fame. A couple of the guys here on the network commented that. Lou Whitaker, Mickey Lolich, they should be in the Hall of Fame. And we had Rob Martin said, how about Dale Murphy? Was the best all-around player for about a decade, 2-time MVP. Yeah, I'm still mystified that Whitaker and Dale Murphy aren't in the Hall of Fame. Bill Freehand's got a strong case as well. And Yeah, and with the conversation yesterday about the 250 or about the 300 win threshold for Major League Baseball, Bob Smith 32-17. Justin Verlander will probably be the last pitcher to reach 250 wins. I think he will. And as he mentioned, the threshold to get into the Hall of Fame is going to be lowered. It's going to have to be. That 300 barrier just won't work. Roy Halladay got in with 203 wins. Pedro Martinez at 219. And it is. It's a shame that Tommy John is not in with 287 wins. All right, one last quick update for the Tigers. And that is we've been talking about, looking about the potential of Brent Herter coming back into the Tigers bullpen or maybe the rotation. Rough outing for him yesterday in Toledo. He was pulled after 21 pitches, 10 strikes, his velocity down about 2 to 3 miles an hour, gave up a hit, threw a pickoff attempt wild into right field, and again gave up a walk and infield hit. He got a strikeout, but he was pulled. So if we were expecting Brent Herter to be up with the Tigers, we might have to wait on that. We'll see what comes after they talk about that today. So, all right, that's going to do it for this edition of Tigers Daily here on the Fan Arts Network. Again, we invite you to subscribe and be a part of the Tigers Daily family. Game 3 this afternoon with Jackson Jobe going up against Paul Skeens for the series win. Hopefully the Tigers can keep it going and win series number 8 in a row on the road. Until next time, Captain Lou saying keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. So long.